Hi, y'all. Michelle Palmer this morning with you today. And I am here with my pelvis. I've arrived with my pelvis and some balls. So, for those of us that have been working together with the balls, I thought I would introduce a new way of exploring and using the balls. It's in that same subtle, discovery, curious sort of fashion. Remember, in all of these practices, what we're trying to do is to just see how our body feels when we explore and we get curious, just detecting and noticing the sensations that are elicited so that we can develop a vocabulary of what we're sensing and feeling. Oftentimes, our vocabulary becomes very limited, and in our mindset, the mind then interprets this sort of limited sense of what we're feeling into everything. We are trying to elicit new and different neural pathways, stimulate different receptors in the body that sense touch, feel, and sensation, and just explore and teach the body some new things. And think of the body as like your playground. That's how I think of it. And that we're just climbing in to do a little playtime and exploration. So we have the balls here. I've taken some air out of the balls, and I could even probably take out a little bit more. So if you have a bike pump needle, take out some air, or later on, if you'd like to fill the balls so they're normal size, you can then add air back in. So we're going to be using these around our pelvic floor area. But before we begin, I'm going to have you just take a seated position. I'm sitting here in a cross-legged position because this is what works for my body. And there's no reason why one should sit this way necessarily. I'm doing this because it's easier for recording purposes and to see what I'm doing. So sitting in a chair is perfectly fine. I would definitely recommend a chair that's pretty supportive, that feels like firm so that as you sit on it, it doesn't smoosh to make way for body and balls. So find that position and establish your sense of ground and connection to yourself and to Mother Earth. So if you're sitting like this, cross-legged, you might feel the outside of your legs and your ankles touching whatever surface you're on, or if you're sitting on a chair, feeling and sensing your sit bones, the groundedness of the sit bones, and your feet. So, whatever is touching earth, feel the surface areas, establishing a sense of this is where I am now. Because then when we go and explore around, we're going to go back to just to see how have things changed and shifted. The body loves to feel different sensations. And if I always love the before and after. Plus, it also teaches the nervous system a new way of being if we register and allow the body to feel the sensations after we work. So here I am. What I recommend is if your hip flexors and your back and things are too tight and you cannot sit in a comfortable upright position, then I would recommend a chair. There are variations that we'll explore on this when we're together sometime. So I'm going to turn to the side. If you find yourself like this, it's going to be much harder to feel the areas of the bottom of the pelvis from this position. The best position is to really have an upright posture. And if everything is tight, then there's a battle that goes on. So assume position in the chair. So the balls, now that I've established my sense of ground, I'm going to take both of the balls and I'm going to put them under my sit bones. So I have my pelvis here. If you remember, you have your sit bones on either side. You have this beautiful pelvic floor, soft tissue space in the middle. And when I place myself on the balls, it's going to be on either side, not in the middle, but right so that each ball is supporting each sit bone area. And then we're going to be moving. So we're going to be doing some rocking of the pelvis. And as we do that, we're going to be moving some of the tissues and structures around the balls that are sitting in the base of the pelvis. I spend a lot of time in the pelvic floor area because um, it's where everything stems from. And if we can have an established sense of connection here and elicit more awareness, movement, freedom, if you will, that's going to impact the rest of our body physically as well as energetically, working with the Sushumna Nadi, which is the central channel of the body, Ida and Pingala, which are also energetic channels that spiral around that central channel. Our chakras, everything energetic is impacted by the health and well being of the pelvic bowl space. Balls, I'm going to shift my weight in a way that allows me to put the balls underneath my, show you here, underneath, it's hard to see. It's right underneath. I'm sitting on them, and it's like a little buoyant raft for the pelvis. Let's come back. Actually, I might assume this position here. A little buoyant raft. So this might work for you. You can also put your legs out front. Again, watch for this, although we will be doing this kind of movement in the practice. So we are aware now of our pelvis sitting on the balls. Take a moment to breathe. And sometimes the buoyancy of the balls will allow more awareness for the soft space of your pelvic floor area, which is chock full with amazing things. Anuses, rectums, vaginas, penises, clitoris. There's so much going on in this area, and the functionality of what happens here is, one of the most amazing places in the body. So come in with that sense of curiosity. Like, wow, I am touching into this elusive space. And then from here, we're going to just do a rocking. So I'm rolling my pelvis slightly back on the balls. And then from initiation through my pelvis, almost as if there is a fulcrum going in between one hip through the center of your pelvis, through the center of the pubic bone, out the other side. And I am just gently rocking around this. And I'm going to put one hand on my pubic bone and the other hand back on my sacrum so you can see. And also notice how I'm allowing the rest of my spine to follow the movement of the pelvis. And if I really allow my spine to relax and follow the movement, then it doesn't take much to translate all the way up into my head and neck. We're trying to establish a chain of relationship between the sacrum pelvis all the way up through the low back, the thoracic rib spine, into the cervical spine, up to the neck and head, so we can remove any holding that might be happening in some of these areas. So think of it yourself a bit like one of those, a snake. I have a segmented snake that I picked up from India that I will maybe share on another video, of how a movement down below can create such profound movement up above. And then I'm going to stop and pause. And then remove the balls on either side and put your legs out in long sitting. And if you're sitting in a chair, you don't need to do this. And just allow your legs to relax and soften and rotate in whichever way they want to as you rest back. And become aware of that pelvic space, the bottom of the bowl where the balls were residing. Feeling the lightness or the heaviness, or there might be a sensation of residual pressure or vibration, or sometimes it elicits, a myriad of things that are unexpected. Can have some aching or dull sensations, or just a the idea of waking up, or maybe you just feel the groundedness of the bones in the legs. And feel how your legs reach out away from your pelvis, sort of an extension horizontally or down and out from the pelvis. Then we're going to take, let's take one ball. I'm going to put it under this side here, which will look like your left side. It's going to shorten this side, so I'm going to show you what it looks like on the video. You can see it puts me off balance. So my right side is raised up, the left side is grounded and connecting. I'm going to, again, assume my bent leg position for this movement. You can also play around with changing the position of your legs. So I pretty much, if I'm not paying attention, my left foot, which looks like my right foot for you, tucks in, and then my other on top of it. So I'm going to do it different than what I normally do, just to give the brain a different experience. And we're going to do the same thing that we just did. We're just going to rock the pelvis really gently. Actually, before we rock, establish connection and notice, what does it feel like in your body to have something underneath your sit bone. If it feels weird or uncomfortable, then just move it out slightly or find a new place where your body can be more receptive. Again, this is like, we don't even really have to do any movement except breathing, so that the body can learn to adapt, become malleable and resilient with having something different and new happening in the body, taking up space here. It's a sort of a space occupying experiment. Putting the rest of the body in this need to sort of really adapt. So this is an adaptability movement. And then from here, we'll go back to that gentle rocking of the pelvis. This is like one of a myriad of different movements, but I love this because of the theoretical simplicity, but it is quite a complex movement of allowing the belly to really soften. So if you're holding your belly tight, it's going to be hard to allow this movement. I'm going to place one hand on my heart area and one hand down in my pelvis, so that you can see the relationship of the hands coming together as a reflection of what's happening in my beautiful spine. Opening, elongating, lengthening, and then rounding, softening, and coming into somewhat like of a mini fetal position. And I let my head and neck follow. That's very important. Otherwise, we end up here, and then our neck is like, I'll show you what that looks like in the spine, is it really crimps the neck, causing too much mobility in that area. So in this position, allow your head and neck. We don't very often allow this. And then again, growing from the pelvis, that fulcrum in the pelvis, that it's rotating around, feeling the roundness of the movement as the spine lengthens and the heart opens. And another way to explore is put one hand back behind the kidneys in the lower back, one hand in the front, and feel the relationship between opening of the heart, closing of the kidney area, and opening of the kidney area, closing of the heart area, and find that place that's right in between where you feel openness in the front and back. So that allows this incredible lengthening and alignment that happens in not only the physical body, but the energetic body. And remove the ball. Ooh, it feels so good. Space. It feels so spacious. Lay your legs long if you are sitting in a cross-legged on the floor position. And for those that are sitting in chairs, just even noticing with your legs down and grounded and connected, that sense of possible connection or energetic shift or change in your position more upright. So this is just one fun thing with the balls in the pelvis. There are so many ways of exploring, but I wanted to give you some food, some nourishment that you can practice and play with on your own until I see you again. Have a wonderful day. Have fun exploring the balls and don't overdo it. And remember, more full balls are going to create more of a discrepancy in the alignment of your body. That's why softer, less in the balls, in the air balls, is really a bonus because it allows a settling in a very different way than if you had something really big pressing up. So explore around and see what you find works for you. And you're welcome to contact me and I'll give you some feedback, help in any way that I can. Have a wonderful day and have fun exploring your beautiful body, your playground. We carry it everywhere we go. We don't even have to go to the playground because the playground is within us. Thank you.